Have you ever wondered what in the world BFDI was? What these little objects and numbers were doing fighting with each other today? My friend Redrabatitis will be summarizing the lore of this weird, wonderful world called BFDI. Thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Take it away, Robity.
Now, this video today is just going to be a basis on the BFDI timeline from the first events that are canon to the last events that are canon as of December 2025. I will be going over some stuff that could be considered non-canon just to make sure I keep track of everything. Now, the first canonical event to happen in BFDI is the 2008 animation made by Carrie Huang, X Finds Out His Value. It's just an explanation on how to do algebra, and all it does is confirm to us that the algebrailians do exist before the concept of BFDI. Starting off Season 1, we can't just go straight into BFDI because before that, it's been confirmed via Teapot 15, one of the newer episodes, that BFDI is technically a Season 2 to something called TFI, alongside its other two comic series. It's basically just BFDI before BFDI. One important thing to note is that this is the introduction to 16 of the 20 contestants in BFDI alongside the announcer, and it's only brought up one other time in the series, and the other two parts of the series, you could say, right? Like TFI is important, the other two aren't really. That's all you need to know about Season 1. Moving on to BFDI, where a lot of stuff happens. Now, BFDI. BFDI is the main season that everyone knows. It's the first animated version of BFDI. It's the exact same characters as TFI, but with 4 new ones because they need an even cast, right? Basically, what BFDI is, in canon, is a show that is broadcast to people. Those people are the voters. And BFDI voters, there's a lot of them. It goes to other planets. BFDI seemingly happens in real life. Like, it's not just a TV show, it's quite literally what's happening in real life. So any events that they cause affect the world. BFDI follows the format of Total Drama Island, where you have challenges, and then every episode a different character gets eliminated based off who's up for elimination. Instead of the actual contestants voting, it's the people who watch the show who get to vote, which is how you get such a weird elimination order in some cases. Now, BFDI does have a few episodes that will be important later, so I'm just going to go over them now. We have BFDI 5, BFDI 17, I think, and BFDI 25. Those are going to be the most important for now. Everything else, not really. In BFDI 25, after the entire show is done, and they do end up getting the prize of Dream Island, which is probably obvious based on the Battle for Dream Island as the name, right? Second place winner steals it from first place, causing the entire rest of the cast to hate them and start chasing after them in hopes to get the island back. Now, timeline-wise, BFDIA 1 happens immediately after BFDI, as BFDI 25 ends with the contestants going after Leafy. BFDIA 1 starts with them chasing Leafy. It's pretty simple timeline shenanigans, and it makes the most sense. Now, as of recording this, BFDI is unfinished, but it is on its likely third last episode, so I'm gonna just speed blitz through it. It's just BFDI again with new characters. Some important episodes you're going to need to keep account of are BFDIA 1 and 10, because those are going to get important during, like, Teapot 15. Now, the episode of BFDIA I haven't mentioned yet is BFDIA 17. Quite possibly one of, if not the most important episode to the entire BFDI timeline. Why is it so important? Something called Yoyolite. Yoyolite is a rock that randomly came from space, and it has reality warping properties. And time-bending properties, it appears too, because in this episode, it's used for time travel. I guess you can figure out by now that time travel is gonna be the most important thing to the BFDI timeline, and why it's so weird, right? BFDIA 17 directly connects to Teapot 15, the episode I've been telling you all these episodes are going to connect to, it's just because of this. It also connects to Teapot 4, I think, and BFB1, which we'll get into, where they basically go to the future, try to stop everything from breaking, and then eventually send the Yoya Light all the way to Teapot 15 as a way for that to happen. Now, going past BFDIA, because, there isn't really much important episodes, you're gonna end up in BFB, quite possibly the most important season, because it introduces back those two guys I talked about at the beginning. 4 and X from X finds out his value. They're the hosts now, and they're just here because they want to host BFDI. So, what's the prize? A full copy with no cuts of the original 2 seasons of BFDI, simply referred to as the BFDI. This prize is insanely weird because we've never seen anything close to this anywhere prior in the series, and as it turns out, it was created by 4 himself, who just so happened to be a fan of BFDI. This is why I was telling you guys earlier that BFDI has a very large impact in verse. Now for BFB, around BFB 16, which you could say is the most important BFB episode, something called the split happened, where 40 of the 56 remaining contestants decide to leave when another number, 2, decides to show up and host his own show where they could battle for specifically his power, which we'll find out how he gets that soon enough. Now, something to note is that the entirety of BFB after BFB 16 takes place before, I think, Teapot 2, so we're gonna go over that first. BFB post-split, nothing too big happens for the first few episodes, but soon enough we find out that 4 just really liked BFDI, and when Announcer, the guy from Season 1, comes back to host, because, I don't know, he was just hiding, it's revealed that 4 can just go into the ground and stay with them forever. He does this out of pure hatred, and they spend the last few episodes trying to get 4 out of the ground whilst also continuing the competition. Now, at the end of BFB 30, they finally convince him to get out of the ground by just continuously chasing him, whatnot, and finding out stuff about his past. As it turns out, that wasn't all he could do. He decides to just keep on running away. It turns into a train, just speeds away. When they eventually catch up to him using a van, he turns into a tree in a forest full of them, and yet they find him. Another thing, he turns into the sun. He makes the sun blue. This is probably the last thing he does before he gets redeemed, because the contestants talk to him about even though how he treated them, they still choose to compete on his show, showing that there were people who did in fact care about him, and that seemed like it was enough for him. Anyways, now that we're done with BFB, it's time to get on to the most important season timeline-wise. Teapot, or the Power of 2 if you want to be extra long. The whole consensus of Teapot is that we have these contestants trying to compete to have this godly power, and we're revealed how this godly power came into being through Teapot 20, the most recent Teapot episode. Basically, the way that 2, 4X all got this power is through something called Yoyolite. I think we talked about it back in BFDIA 17, how it has time and reality bending properties. It turns out, specifically the race of numbers, known as Algebraians, have the ability to just absorb the power of the Yoyolite, and doing so gives them all this godly power for some unknown reason. Now, going back a bit, Teapot 15 is the episode I kept on telling you guys about. This is why. So, you have the Yoyolites being studied by 2 characters, tennis ball, golf ball, right? They have it in a lab in a secured glass case as to make sure it doesn't cause any harm, because even just a small change in the timeline could have catastrophic consequences. But it turns out that some of the characters who auditioned to be on Teapot but didn't get enough votes to join felt maybe if they went back in time using this, they could find a way to get back into Teapot. And after this evil number called 1 escaped from the moon and sought out just power for everyone, they decided it would be perfect to allow them to this Yoya light, causing Teapot 15. Anyways, with all this, the contestants notice the universe is just starting to shift, right? For example, you have a hotel, turns into a house. You have 2 as the host, turns into 3, turns into 4, turns into 5, whatever. Like, they turn into different things. For example, the style, they briefly turn back to the original 2010 style. They turn into pieces of paper from BFB 28, whatnot, whatnot. You can see something's wrong with time. Now, this one character that I just talked about, we don't know their motives at this point in time, but for some reason, they've been making quote-unquote deals with characters where it's either sign my deal, which allows me to do anything via terms of service, or watch the universe collapse. Right? You can see how it's an issue that they're just able to do this. So, they end up doing this to a few contestants, such as Gady, Barf Bag, Basketball, right? We see it happen on screen at different episode points, and you can just tell something is off with one. Anyways, what happens to these characters? They get erased from the timeline. They don't exist anymore. There's no such concept as a Gady or a Basketball or a Barf Bag in the world of BFDI after Teapot 15, because they just got erased. There's no way of bringing them back that is currently known. Now, at the end of Teapot 15, everything goes back to normal because Gady signed a deal to fix the universe. Obviously, right? The whole issue with Teapot 15 is that it just makes things canon. For example, before Teapot 15, TFI wasn't canon and the subscriber specials were definitely not canon. But we see instances of both of them being referenced in Teapot 15, both as a part of time they go to and just a segment of a crack that forms when time gets disrupted. Before we continue on with Teapot and finish that up, I feel like there's a need to bring up the subscriber specials, which are supposedly canon now due to Teapot 15 using assets from them, implying, oh yeah, this moment did in fact happen at some point in time in the BFDI world, whatever. From what we're aware of, it has to happen either after Teapot 20's flashback, which takes place during X finds out his vow, so it has to take place after 2008, but before a certain date in 2008. Like, all of this has to happen. The reason why it's so contentious is that Teapot 20 basically goes and says, X finds out his value is canon, but they all leave after that, making the subscriber specials both impossible to fit in the timeline and just during a time that a different event was happening. It's basically just an alternate universe, and that's probably what it is, an alternate timeline. We've seen that there are multiple timelines in BFDI, which is even more confusing. The basis quo is that the only main differences we're aware of is that one timeline has a purple marker, Gady, Barfbang, and Basketball, and one timeline does not. That's all the differences we're currently aware of in the two BFDI timelines. There might be more, we don't know. Okay, so we're done with the subscriber specials. We've determined that those are likely not canon, with the exception of like maybe one, because that's the one that appears in the Teapot 15 shatter thing. So we can just continue on with Teapot. Teapot 19. Everyone currently in gets the prize because there's just still a giant crack in the sky from Teapot 15 that no one could fix. So everyone gets the power of 2, evenly spread, and they try to stop that little crack thing. Doing this makes it grow, and now everyone is screwed. Well, during this, they decide, oh, the challenge should literally be Fortnite, and everyone has to do a battle royale against each other. There's 15 competitors, and one of them wins. Grassy. Why does Grassy win? Because everyone else killed themselves before that. Before Grassy wins, Pencil, a character from Season 1, decides, oh, I see this one character, who seems to have time-bending properties. They say if I give them all this power I've taken from 2 and 4, then they'll be able to send me back in time and fix my broken relationships. So they give the power, and 1 does as they do, and they send a pencil all the way back to BFDI 1A, meaning they can restart everything and fix everything that could have went wrong. And that's basically everything that's happened in BFDI up to this point. You've had a few episodes from the first season, few episodes from the second season, third season doesn't matter, few episodes from the fourth season, Armageddon. That's basically all you need to know. And if you, for some reason, came here for power scaling, considering that I'm a power scaling channel, Vortex is a power scaling channel, I have a whole nother video on that. Anyways, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a good one. See ya.